Are the eyes the hardest part for you to make when making a doll? I might have a solution for you. These are pretty easy to make wool felt eyes for any doll.
Hi everyone, I'm Aubrey, the doll maker behind La Chulona dolls, and today I'm going to show you how to make these cute eyes for your doll. These are made of wool felt, so if you don't want to embroider that much or you're not very good at embroidering, these have some embroidery but very minimal. So yeah, this is a good alternative to make open eyes without having to embroider so much.
So first of all, I have a bunch of buttons here, and this is what I'm going to use as a pattern. So I just need to decide which button I'm going to use for it. So I have these two that I have here. I like the big button because I feel like it's going to look good, like have big eyes. But I'm not going to use that as a pattern because usually when you go around it, it will be bigger. So I'm going to use a slightly smaller button, as you can see in here. So it's almost the same, but it's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to use this as a pattern because when I trace it, it's going to be a little bigger. You could also use one of these rulers that have little holes, circles, or even ovals. So here I have some black felt. This is wool felt, and I'm just gonna use the button as a pattern. So I'm just gonna trace it with a chalk because this is black. These, as you can see, these are just scraps that I'm using for it. Even though I'm not a big fan of perfection, I do want them to look as symmetrical as possible. So I'm here trying to clean it up a little bit to try to make them as round and symmetrical as I can. So here I just pin the felt pieces to the eyes just to have an idea of how it's gonna look. It looks a little big at the moment, but I think they're gonna work out because once we stitch it, I think it's gonna look very great. So I took the felt pieces out, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take white embroidery floss. I'm using the 6 strands, and I am just gonna make a knot at the end, and I'm going to embroider just one straight line on each eye. You could also do this with another piece of felt or even paint. I have seen people that do little hearts and even little stars, so you can get creative here and do your own thing. You can even do more than one spot or lines as I'm doing here, but I'm just gonna make one for each eye. So now again, I am now gonna pin them where they are actually going to be at, and I'm gonna leave them there. I'm gonna put 2 pins on each eye, and the reason why I'm doing that is because if you leave just one pin, it will start like spinning around while you are trying to stitch it like this, you can see, and we are trying to avoid that. Now I have a hand sewing needle and thread. I have it in black because my eyes are black. So if you have blue eyes, make sure you have a blue, like a matching color. Like if they're brown, get a brown thread. If they're blue, get a blue thread. If they're green, get a green thread, and so on. So I am just going to attach them with small whip stitches. This might get a little like tricky. It's not that it's hard. It's just a little tricky because this is not flat. It is kind of like 3-dimensional. So you have to be careful that you don't pierce the fabric. So that's why you see me here like kind of like pushing the fabric in, kind of like wiggling the needle and, you know, trying to get all the stitches in as neatly as possible, but also being careful not to pierce the fabric where it doesn't need to be pierced, right? Also, you can choose to just glue them. I have seen people glue them. I just like how it looks stitched because it looks flatter, but this is my personal choice. If you want to glue them, you can do that as well. Just try to do it as neatly as you can. The area of the cheek is actually the hardest one because we have that big cheek coming out, so it can get a little tricky, but it's doable. Now, like I said, this is gonna have minimal embroidery. So what I'm going to do is I want to do some eyelashes. So I'm gonna hand draw them with my erasable fabric marker, as you can see in here. So I'm just making a line from like mid-eye to like the end of the outside corner. And then I am making like a little eyelash in the middle, kind of like coming out, as you can see in here. Now, using embroidery floss in the color of the hair that you want to use, I'm using black. I am going to start like mid-eye, as you can see in here, and I am just gonna embroider following the line that I just made. I am choosing to make a stem stitch, which is not a hard stitch. You can look it up on YouTube. It's pretty easy, but if you want, you can also use a back stitch or any other stitch that you think will be good for this. So when I take the last stitch there, I'm gonna come out where the eyelash is going to be at, but I'm gonna come out between the felt and the embroidery, as you can see in here. And now here you can just embroider the eyelash. I decided to do it with a stem stitch as well, but you could do just like a straight stitch if you want to. This is your choice, really. Get creative. And on the last stitch, I'm just gonna come out between the embroidery and the felt, and I am going to make an anchor knot right there, as you can see in here. And then hide the knot inside the fabric, like I'm doing here. So here, in my opinion, is where the eye gets like really cute. So I'm taking my 6 strands of embroidery floss and I threaded my doll making needle with it. This is a 5-inch doll making needle, and I'm gonna insert it in the part where the ears go. This is my baby Blanca doll. You can choose another place. If you are gonna have hair, you can start in the back, or you can start at the neck as well. So I'm gonna start there, and I'm gonna come out at the corner of the eye, as you can see in there where the felt is, between the felt and the embroidery of the eyelash. And I am just going to basically do a couple of satin stitches, but they're going to be vertical, as you can see. And I want to make sure that I go over some of the felt, as you can see. So that way it all looks like it's one piece, because if I just go next to the felt, then you will see you know, like it's 2 different things that I have there, like the felt and the embroidery, which they are. But when you embroider a little bit over the felt and then you keep embroidering over the rest of the eye, it kind of gives more the impression that it's just one piece, like one eye. Once you are happy with the amount of stitches you made, the last stitch, you are going to take it and come out where you started, basically. Because I started where the ears go, that is where I'm going to finish also. I am going to pull gently and check if I really like how it looks, and then I'm just going to make a knot. I make at least 3 knots, but I don't cinch it like super tight because I don't want the embroidery stitches to get all pulled in. So this is basically how I do it. Now I'm going to repeat the whole process on the other eye. Now to hide the thread and knots, we are going to cut the tails the same length, and we're gonna thread our doll making needle with both ends. Now we are going to insert the needle right next to the knot and come out at the back of the head and pull tight, which I am not being able to do here, so I'm going to use a tool for that. You just pull until the knot is in. You're going to see it usually makes a pop sound, but if it doesn't, just make sure that it's pretty hidden. And then just cut the threads while pulling so the rest of the threads stay inside the doll. So this is basically how it looks, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish the doll so I can show you what it looks like. If you would like to make this doll, this is the baby blanket doll. The pattern is in my shop. I will make sure that I post the link in the description.
So this is what the eyes look in the end. The face is finished, except for the hair, which I need to embroider soon. But you can see the ears, and you can have like a better idea of what it looks in the end. This is, I think, a good alternative for embroidering the eyes if that gives you like a lot of stress, or painting them. I'm not very good at painting them, so this I think is a good alternative because it has minimal embroidery and very easy, but most of the eye is made with the felt, with the wool felt. I hope you like this, and remember, it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be special, and I think this is pretty special, don't you think? So thank you for being here. Bye bye.